We're back from our awesome cruise on the Celebrity Equinox. We're going to give you our full review of the ship. Hi, I'm Carmen. This is Brian. We're the Adventures of Peas and Carrots. If you enjoy travel videos and other travel related stuff, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell so you won't miss anything. Let's dive right into the review of the Celebrity Equinox. First, I want to say that, spoiler alert, we liked it so much that we've already booked another cruise. So that's another reason to subscribe if you enjoy these cruise videos. And
on the same ship.
Yes, on the exact same ship. And if you've enjoyed these vlogs, be sure you subscribe because we will have a whole nother trip coming up with a different itinerary, which we're really excited about. And we'll announce details about that at a later time. So let's dive into this review.
Yep.
Let's start with embarkation. So getting onto the ship, what were your thoughts?
It was just like so smooth. I mean, so we landed at from Fort Lauderdale and just jumped. We took the taxi route rather than the Uber. As soon as we got out the taxi, there was I forget what's the official word for the.
I don't know, but there were the guys there to take your luggage.
Take your luggage, and they immediately just took it away.
Yeah, you didn't have to do anything
and then you
with
just walk
it.
right towards the big building, towards the terminal, to go through security, and then we just sat down and waited for our class to be called, right?
Which was the zero class. What were we called? We were preview because we'd never cruised before.
So definitely sign up for the Captain's
Captain's Club,
which is free, and that's their, of course, loyalty program. And we noticed that we just assumed we would just be the utter last
complete last.
But no, when they called us, there's massive amount of people still sitting down. I guess
they hadn't signed up for Captain's Club, I guess.
It's got to be.
And also, we should point out that Hurricane Durian was literally on the doorstep when we got on this cruise. I mean, literally, like we didn't know if our flight was going to happen. We didn't know if the cruise was going to happen. And they handled everything beautifully. They asked us all to show up an hour early, which we did, and they got us all on the ship completely smooth. Even though it was really packed in there, it all went so smooth. So I was super impressed with that considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't know if what happened was typical, meaning if that's how it would always be, but it was so smooth considering it was sort of a...
Well, I guess we'll find out soon.
Hurricane, special circumstances. Yeah, we will find out soon. So any other comments about embarkation?
No, but as soon as we stepped on the ship, of course, that's when you cross the threshold and we're like, oh, we're actually doing
on
this.
On the ship.
We're just like amazed by everything.
It was wonderful. Wonderful.
Just the appearance of the ship, it was elegant, I guess.
Elegant. I would say it's elegant, but not stuffy. That's what I liked about it. It's very classy, but not stuffy. It felt relaxed, but beautiful. Like everything was perfect. And it just gives you that sort of awe, at least for me, walking on. It's just really incredible looking, very beautiful. So what else about the general... I wanted to make a comment about the crowds. Now, again, because of the hurricane, we have no idea if that affected the number of bookings the ship had. Like, we don't know if people avoid that time of the year or if some people didn't show up because of that. But it did not feel crowded to me, and that was one of my biggest concerns. I do not like crowds, and I'd heard stories from other people who cruised about long waits for everything, for food, for elevators, basically for everything, to get off the ship, to get on the ship. We barely experienced any lines. Anything else about the ship in general, just at large?
It's just everything was clean and just well kept and upkept, and I don't know, no complaints.
I mean, you saw people polishing the rails and stuff constantly. Like it was just.
So I would be
up just constant.
At 5 a.m. to go to do my workout, and I constantly come across people just polishing the handrails and clean down the
it was
elevators.
Just constant all the time. I noticed when I went back over our footage of the ship. I wouldn't even realize at the time I was filming, there was always someone cleaning in the background, like just almost always a crew member cleaning. And while you talked about workouts, why don't we go ahead and talk about the workout facilities? Sure. I'll start. I did not use the gym. Brian did, so he can talk about that. But every morning I used the walking trail, which was on the, I believe, 14th deck. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was either the 14th or the 15th deck. And it's basically just a path that goes all the way around. It's the deck level right above the pool.
It was small, though.
It is pretty small. I didn't count how many laps I did, but it was a lot. I tried to walk about the same amount of time I normally walk, and I normally do 2 miles. And so I know how long that takes me. So I tried to walk that amount of time, and I did a lot of laps. It's a short route, but it is nice, and you get beautiful views. And since we would go so early before the sun came up, I would get to see a spectacular sunrise while I was walking. So that was really, really cool. The only downside I will mention, because I feel like it's important to mention, is the masked bar, which we'll talk about when we get to the bars, is on that level, and they allow smoking there. And so it's right on the walking, jogging trail. And so every lap I would get a face full of smoke. And when you're working out, that's not cool. And I know people need a place to smoke, and I don't care about that, but it shouldn't be on the jogging/walking trail. That was bad placement.
Sounds kind of counterproductive to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I did give them feedback about that, because I think they need to move that, or at least in the early morning when people were working out, have that be non-smoking, at least just for those few hours during workout time. Sure, so how was the gym?
The gym had tons of equipment. I mean, lots of equipment. And also, I should note, this is this is half
revolutionized.
Yeah. So they're doing a revamp of the entire cruise line, right?
I believe so, or most of the, or maybe the ships that are the oldest. I'm not sure what the qualifications are, but they're revolutionizing some of the ships. Yeah. So our ship got partially revolutionized,
which means they did the bedding, drapes, like the soft stuff, but not most of the hard stuff, and they touch here and there other areas. So I think the plan was for the workout area. Actually, that's going to be like cut in half or something. Yeah, it's going to be drastic. That's what I think. Yeah,
that's kind of a bummer. Because it was a nice facility. Even though I didn't use it, I went in there.
So I would get there typically 5 a.m, and on sea days, to be expected, that's when it was the busiest. But still, there's tons of equipment open at that time. We did pop in, I think you get video of it, in the afternoon, I think, and it was packed.
Packed. Which surprised me.
Yeah, for me, I like to do it.
Get it in the morning, especially on vacation. I want to do it first thing when I wake up before I get ready and be done with it.
Equipment's really nice, though. They got towels, water, everything you expect. And also, what's really cool is after I do my workout, you can go right there next to it is you go outside, and it's on the front of the ship.
Yeah, on the bow. It's amazing.
It's a nice little deck area, and you can just watch what's passing by outside.
Yep.
And there's amazing sunrises.
Yep. So I think we enjoyed our workouts, which is a funny thing to say on vacation, but it was unique. I mean, walking around the top of the ship to me was a pretty cool way to work out. So I really enjoyed it. So you want to hit something much more fun than working out was the food.
Well, see, that's why you do the workout. So
then you can enjoy the food.
So I'm a pescatarian, which means I eat fish, and I'm a vegetarian that eats fish. I guess is the best way to word it.
Or seafood, any seafood, yeah.
And I was able to find something to eat everywhere. I mean, tons. I mean, there's tons of seafood.
Well, I saw a lot of vegetarian food, yeah.
So like at the main Oceanview Cafe, which is their main buffet, right? They always had an Indian station it was all, I think, mainly all vegetarian.
No, not all. There were
really? Okay.
There were also some meat dishes, but it was mostly vegetarian. I would say mostly
and
vegetarian.
There was fish every day. You had no
Lots
problems
of
finding fish, salads. I mean, just everything.
Yeah.
Now for Carmen, gluten-free, I think she had a different take on it.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the Oceanview Buffet, and we already have a video that gives a full tour of the breakfast buffet and the dinner buffet, so be sure to check that out on our channel, and I'll link it later in this video so you can watch that after this video. But one of the things about the buffet that was nice is they had things marked gluten-free. And the other issue, which is not Celebrity's responsibility, is just cross-contamination from other guests on the ship.
It's to be expected, right?
Because one time at the salad bar, they had Chinese noodles, and it looked like someone had just thrown them over the whole salad bar, which that's not Celebrity's fault. I mean, that's definitely a guest that had, dropped them everywhere. And so I would say if you were strictly gluten-free for health reasons, you might want to either talk to a manager or you might want to stick to the main dining room. I think the main dining room is probably the safer option. Let's talk about the smaller dining options. We didn't actually eat at these places, but we went several times and kept thinking about it, and we just never did it. Next trip, I plan to rectify this. One is the Aqua Spa Cafe, and I definitely want to go back here because they had a bunch of gluten-free snacks. and they were really health oriented. Like the whole, I'd say all of it, not just the gluten-free stuff, was health oriented. Like, for example, some of the snacks were handmade bars that had just nuts and fruit and maybe a little honey. So very, very healthy.
And this place
fresh.
is not tied to the spa, even though it sounds like it is. It's open to everyone.
It's in the solarium, which is the adult only area, which we'll talk about. It's the adult only pool area. I think it's 16 and over is the age. Yeah. So it's in that area, and no, it's not connected to the spa. And then also the masked grill, which is basically your hot dogs, your hamburgers,
They do have veggie
sort of
burgers
like fast food.
And we never got around. I kept saying I need to go and try the veggie burger, but I guess because the buffet was just
so easy and so much, a huge variety. And I felt like the buffet was healthier because you could get so many vegetables and fresh food. So I don't know. I guess that's why we never ended up at the masked grill, but it looked good, and they had fries there too. So that was a nice little quick service, and it's really close to the pool, which is nice. And then the thing I loved the most was the main dining room. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. We had the most amazing servers.
So the way they do dining
so wonderful
is you can do I guess they call it traditional, which is where you get grouped with other people, and you go at they had two seatings, early and a late. I can't remember the times. Or you can do, what do they call it, dine your way or
something like that.
It's where you can just go and anytime you want. You might have a wait, but we never had. I mean,
we always went early.
You can, even if you do the dine your own time or way, you can make reservations, and which I recommend. I mean, just go ahead and make a reservation, and you can do that way in advance before you even get on the ship.
And especially if you know what time you like to eat. Like, we know we're early people, and so it was easy for us to pick a time. And they were always ready for us. They would literally run out with my gluten-free bread as soon as I sat down. Like, they knew our preferences. They knew what we wanted. We had spectacular service for dinner every single time. Same people. They were wonderful. The food was amazing. Tons of gluten-free options on the menu. And they would even make modifications for me. Like, if something was spicy, I could ask them to leave the hot spices off. They were really accommodating. However, we did go to breakfast one morning, and I don't know what happened, but it took forever for us to get our food. And we noticed that everything we could get at breakfast, we could have just gotten off the buffet.
So we only did that once.
So we only did that one time. We did not do any specialty dining, but they do have a wide array if you're interested of specialty dining. And they have tons
of specials apparently, because every day there were usually outside the main buffet area, the Oceanview Cafe, advertising specials and stuff. We both found there's no reason for us to do it because the food was amazing.
The food was so good in the main dining room. I just can't see going to the specialty. Not for us. So you want to move on to one other thing we didn't mention was they do have a coffee shop with like specialty coffees and beverages, and I wanted to mention it because they do always have at least one gluten-free treat there, and this is included. This isn't like an upcharge. I'm talking about now the coffees are, but I'm talking about the food. So like if you want, they have regular gluten-filled treats too, and they also always had like a gluten-free muffin or something.
Yeah, and those are specialty coffees. You can get regular coffee,
which are like an upcharge,
buffet,
right? Yeah. So on to the bars.
Ooh, that's a fun topic.
It is a fun topic. So they had a ton of what I would call full service but general bars, meaning they don't have a theme or a specialty. So I'll run through those really quick. They have destinations in the that's actually in the buffet room, the Oceanview Cafe, and also the Oceanview Bar, which is right outside of the Oceanview Cafe.
Which was our favorite hangout spot in the evening, I think, mostly because the sun goes down. And,
It's aft of the ship, and you just have spectacular views. And then right above that is the Sunset Bar, also aft, and also on that level is the Mass Bar, which I mentioned when I was talking about doing my workout. Those two have smoking sections and or are all smoking, one or the other. I know the Sunset, it's like one side smoking and one side's not. So if you smoke, those are two that allow smoking.
We didn't hang out there. Maybe one time when there was a singer. They had
a really good singer at the Sunset Bar. Yeah, really, really good live entertainment. And then also there's the pool bar, which is right next to the pool, which I think is pretty obvious. And then there's a Passport Bar, which is on the third floor, I believe. It's the third floor, I'm pretty sure. And it has unusual hours. It was really hard to tell what hour. I mean, they do give you a printout each day with the hours for everything, but it definitely had varying hours. There were 2 bars that we barely either didn't go to or barely used, which is the casino bar. I got 1 drink there one time, and the world class bar, which we didn't go to at all because it opens pretty late in the day.
There's also a third, the Sky Lounge bar, which we would use that as our hangout spot during the afternoon.
During the day, but they weren't open.
Because it's amazing views
Beautiful
there. So
views.
that's the front of the ship.
Yep.
You can just hang out there. We're playing cards and stuff. We're just hanging out, looking at the view.
Yep.
You know.
And they have a lot of activities in there too, like trivia. We saw origami, all kinds of stuff in there. But then our 2 favorite bars were the specialty bars.
Yes.
You want to talk about Craft Social?
Yeah, so Craft Social is it's mainly a beer, bar, but it's also it's a full bar too.
Well, they also seemed heavily into Scotch and whiskey as well. Like really big selection in addition to the beer.
So it's craft beers. They had an amazing selection. They even had Le Fin de Monde, which I was shocked, and of course I was getting that.
That's one of his favorites if you don't follow us regularly. And they also were full service though. So I could get a Don Julio there, which is tequila, which is not part of their theme. So, you could still get other drinks as well.
It was nice seating. It had nice couches with a view outside the window. And it was usually just low key and relaxing. Speaking of odd hours, that place does have odd hours. It's always later in the day. They're 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, even on sea days.
Yep.
Which we were kind of shocked.
We were surprised. And same with the next bar we're going to talk about, which is the Martini Bar. It also opened around 4, it seemed like most days. And that was actually my favorite bar. They made amazing drinks there. Everything I had there was great. I tried multiple things off the menu. I think I tried a Cosmo, a classic martini. My favorite was this one called Fresca or something like that, and it was a watermelon martini. They were all great, but what was the most fun was the bartenders. They put on a show.
Yeah, they did.
Like if you've seen the movie Cocktails, which I'm probably aging myself mentioning that movie, but if you've seen that, right? Tom Cruise. It's like that kind of flair. They call it flair bartenders, and they were fantastic, and they were also so nice and just great guys. Like they were so fun to watch. They did a really, really good job. I just enjoyed hanging out there. Let's talk about the room next. So we had the veranda stateroom or cabin. And I would say I loved it. I thought the layout, I'm slightly claustrophobic, so I was worried since I had not been on a cruise before about how tight the room would be. And I didn't feel like closed in at all. Now, of course, since we had the veranda cabin, we had a balcony, and that makes a huge difference. But it felt very, very spacious. And we did do a room tour, so I'll link to that above. But it was, I thought, a great room, great layout.
Me being taller, I didn't have any issues.
Yeah, Brian's over 6'3", just to give you an idea. And one issue I would mention is I am under 5 feet, and they had what looked like an outlet, but to be fair, I never used it, in the bathroom, and it was in the ceiling. And so I could not even begin to reach it. And yes, I could have asked Brian to plug something in for me, but I just opted to use my hairdryer out in the main part of the room because there was basically a desk/vanity mirror in the main, and that's where the outlets were, which is something I wanted to talk about. They don't have a lot of outlets. I think in the Revolution, which we didn't get a full Revolution on this ship, they were supposed to add more outlets.
More lamps on either side of the bed with USB ports. So
there's no plug by the bed at all.
So we just had a total of 3 plugs, which was 2 American and 1 European.
And luckily we brought a European converter because Brian had read about that before we went. And so we had all 3 outlets. If you don't bring a converter, you're only going to have 2 outlets. Or if you're from Europe, you're only going to have 1 outlet. So definitely bring your converter so that you can utilize all 3, because we had all 3 in use almost all the time, because we have so many electronics. And so that would be if I had a complaint. I love the room, but that would really be my only complaint.
The bed was awesome. The bed was brand
so
new. The bedding, all the bedding was new. The balcony was so large to me. We had plenty of space. Plenty of space for 2 chairs, people. A small table. We spent a lot of time out there.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
TV was new, I think, nice and large.
Big TV.
Sofa, we had a little sofa. We had everything. The bathroom, I thought was really nice. Mm-hmm. The shower's nice.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the space in the bathroom. It's tight. Like, I felt like Brian on the toilet was a tight fit, and I felt like me in the shower was a tight fit. Like, if I'm trying to shave my legs, like, men don't have to do that, but for a woman to bend over and shave your legs, that was kind of awkward because it's one of those little capsule showers.
Yeah.
But it was sufficient. It was fine.
Room service was great. We did it once on lobster night.
That was great. Yeah, that was great.
I mean, it came pretty quick, and there's some items that you forgot or something. I mean, this guy went running to get it. And
he must have jogged because he was back so fast.
And really everywhere, service was with a smile. I mean,
service was incredible. I think that's what blew us away the most.
I mean, we've had probably a lot of vacations we paid more for than this vacation and got like
way worse service.
Yeah, so that really made the cruise for us.
It really did. I mean, the service is what makes it special. Pools. So we are not pool people. If you follow us, you know this. However, it's really nice to hang out by a pool.
We did once. We hung out on the upper level.
Right. And I like the jacuzzi sometimes. I used that after our grueling San Juan excursion. Don't get me wrong, we loved it, but it was brutal hot and lots of uphill walking. It was really
did tons of walking.
Intense. It was an intense self-guided excursion.
Great port, though.
And it was a great port. I really enjoyed the jacuzzi that night in the solarium.
So with the pools, both of them are on the same deck, the outside and indoor one.
Yep.
The outside one was, of course, more popular. The inside one, I mean, you still have people hanging out, but that was like pretty much wide open, I thought.
Yeah. It was so relaxing in there. We loved the solarium.
And it's slightly AC'd.
Nice. It is.
It did have some open windows here and there, so it wasn't like totally enclosed, but yeah, they're definitely pumping AC in there.
Right. Yeah, it was climate controlled, and there were 2 jacuzzis in the solarium as well as the pool. And there were also two pools outside, and I think 4 jacuzzis on the outside.
Yes.
And there was always room in everything. Like, I never saw, now I did see the pool chairs right next to the pool pretty full, but there was also a bunch of chairs one deck up. So there was always, it seemed to me, always somewhere to sit, which goes back to the crowd thing again. We'll keep mentioning that, but we don't know.
Stay tuned for our next round of videos to find out what the situation was.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do an update review after we do our second cruise so we can compare it. And also, we're going to touch lightly on entertainment and activities.
Tons of trivia,
activities, origami. And also, the one thing we did like is at night, several times we caught the game show.
Those are really good.
And I'm not sure what floor that is on.
It was right outside the main theater where they do the Broadway shows.
4th floor, maybe?
Where they call the production shows.
4th or 5th floor, I can't remember, but that was a ton of fun. They were hilarious. We saw 60 seconds or less, and we saw, is this true? It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The way they do those was just really, really fun. And we also peeped in and watched a little bit of one of the Broadway type productions in the main theater. And I thought it was really well done. Like, it was like any big production that I had seen.
I think they usually were like around an hour in length.
I think so. And they also had, which we didn't see, a comedian on board a couple of nights and a singer on board a couple of nights, in addition to the Broadway style
illusionist
show.
Or
illusionist, you're right. Yeah, an illusionist as well. So they had a variety of entertainment in the
Now, we'll say
theater.
the activities on the ship are mainly geared towards an older demographic.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
A lot of the activities just weren't our cup of tea.
They have glass blowing on the ship.
They do, which is unique.
Yeah.
And I actually might do that on the next cruise. I haven't decided. It looked pretty cool. Like, we watched other people doing it, and I mean, that's pretty neat. And it's something like really, like he said, really unique. They have a lawn, and they play movies on the lawn, and we saw people playing bocce ball on the lawn.
And this is real
lawn. Grass.
This is not AstroTurf.
It's on the 15th deck. It's pretty amazing. And that's also where the glass blowing is.
Probably should mention more about that since I brought up the demographic, because that's what kind of pulled us to this cruise line. Is it is an older crowd. Nothing wrong with that, because that suits us. I mean, it
definitely suits us. And also, there are very few children.
Yes.
I think I saw maybe 3 or 4 children in strollers the entire trip.
Yeah, but they do have they do have programs for the teenagers and the kids. You know, they do engage you. You know, if you want to bring your children on, they got those programs there. And
well, they've even had deals of bring your kids for free. I've seen some celebrity deals for that. So yeah, they definitely cater to families. But it absolutely is an older demographic. There's no doubt about it. You can just look around and tell. And that's, like he said, that suited us fine. But what was funny to me is how late most of the activities were. We missed a lot of cool activities because they didn't start until really late at night.
Seems like 10 o'clock.
And we're really early people.
Since we mentioned, you know, I'm getting up going to 5 in the morning to that. So I'm not staying up till like midnight or 1 in the morning.
Right. That's just not our thing.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. And also for entertainment, they do have a casino, and it is non-smoking, which is great. What's not great is the machines are a bit dated. I'm just going to say. They did have table games as well, but the machines, which we like, the slot machines, were dated because we're used to going to Vegas, and these are definitely not like up to Vegas standards. We literally played one time, stuck 120 in, not making this up, hit one button and $106 and cashed out and walked away. That was the extent of our...
Okay, that's great.
Yep, we were like, that works for us, and walked away. But
still, every night we tended to walk through the casino
it was
because
fun.
it was smoke-free.
And it was fun to look at what other people were doing, like check out the table games.
Because there were some hot tables a couple nights where people were like really getting into it. So that's kind of fun to watch.
And they do have shopping on the ship. They have both high-end stores and sort of regular stores, and those were really popular. They had some good sales, which were packed. So there's definitely some shopping.
Yep.
Anything else for entertainment activities?
That's it.
I mean, we're missing a bunch of... There's so much to do. You get this huge list of things every day to do. So much to do. So we're just glossing over...
Not a ship that has like the water roller coasters, laser tag, that kind of stuff. You're not going to find that here.
No, and the arcade was tiny.
But I think the price. I think the price reflects that because it is a cheaper,
reasonably priced.
But the price line doesn't reflect into like the food and the rest of the ship. I mean, everything seems like top notch.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Well, the things that are important to me were top notch.
That's what you're paying for.
Disembarkation or getting off the ship. Again, so smooth. We opted to take our own luggage off. You can have them take it off if you want to. We wanted to keep our stuff with us, so we took it off ourselves, which means we got off really, really early. Yep. Which again, we're early people, so we didn't really mind that. And we did wait in a line for a while because we decided just to
That's because we got down there early.
We got there early. And other than that, it was super smooth.
Yeah.
And once it was time and we started going, it moved like so fast. We're really looking forward to our next cruise on the Celebrity Equinox. Yes. It was such an amazing ship. We had such an amazing time. We hope you'll follow along with us on our next cruise. Click on the video on your screen now if you've enjoyed this. And also, if you like travel videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss anything. Thanks so much for watching. Until our next adventure.